Hey everyone, my name is Thomas from Thomas Dealer Coaching. In this video, we will be talking about how to become more creative. Are you also one of those people that says, no, I'm not a really creative person, I'm just more logical, I don't come up with creative ideas, I'm just not that creative, right? I know I told myself this lie for many years, and I recently started to play around with how can I become more creative, and I realized that all of us are creative, right? All of us have creativity within us. We simply tell ourselves that we are not, and by telling ourselves that we are not creative, we also don't let creativity come out. So in this video, we will have a look at how you can become more creative or how you can use the creativity that you already have. Okay, let's dive right in. So let's have a look first at why creativity and logic are not an either-or story, right? And why you can actually be both, and you are both, okay? So there is I don't know why, but there is popular belief, and you can find it all over the internet, that you have a left brain, which is more logic, or more right brain sided, let's say. And for some reason they say, look, the left brain is the logic side of the brain and the right brain is the creativity side of the brain, and people tend to be more one or the other. And obviously by reading this and by believing it, which is something that I read and I believed, I started to think, well, I'm more of a logic person, so I must be a more left brain person, and thus I am not a creative person, right? And what this research does, or what this popular belief does, is it puts you in labels, and it puts you kind of in one place, and you automatically think that because you're one, you're not the other. Now, recent research, and I'll put down a TED video below, recent research has kind of debunked this, and they've said, look, yes, left brain is more logic, right brain is more creative, but you are not one or the other. You don't have like a more developed left side or a more developed right side. You have both. And yes, there will be people that are more creative, but all of us have both sides, and it's even better. If you combine both sides, that's when you really get the best results. So if you are able to combine your creative side with your logic side, that's when the best results often happen. So you're not kind of limited to being in one of the two categories. You can be both, and the power is in actually using both. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's an and story. You can be creative and logic, and that's when it really comes together very well. So where does creativity come from, right? I don't think we have a scientific answer yet to that, but I think from a spiritual perspective, we can have an answer. From a spiritual perspective, creativity lives at the source of life, right? Where that is, we don't know, but we know that wherever life comes from, creativity is there as well, and creativity comes from that same source. And where does life live? Well, life lives in the present moment, right? The only way you can connect with life is by being present. It doesn't live in the past, it doesn't live in the future. If you want to connect to your life, you're going to have to be connected to the moment that you are having right now. Like you're watching this video, that is what you're doing right now. And so creativity lives there too. If you want to tap into the creativity, you're going to have to be in the moment before you can really tap its source. There's another moment where we can be creative, because at that moment we are also really much linked to the source of life, again from a spiritual perspective, and that is when we're sleeping. If you are sleeping, I'm pretty sure lots of us have had the most vivid, crazy, creative ideas during our dreams, right? Our dreams just do whatever crazy things that they can. And that is because while we're dreaming or while we're sleeping, we are connected with the source of life. We are not awake, we're not thinking about the past or the future. We are in the moment and we're sleeping. We're not even aware of it. But our mind starts to become really creative. And the same happens, like, I haven't had the same happen to me while I was awake, but I've had creative ideas while I was awake only at times when I was really connected to this moment, and when I was really in the moment, right? And so that's the essence. If you want to be creative, you need to connect to the present moment and need to try and be as much as you can in this moment. Now, obviously, lots of us have maybe tried this already, do a brainstorming session where we say, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna be creative and I'm gonna write all of these ideas. For me, that has never really worked. I don't know about you, but for me that almost never works actually. So what happens, or what has happened to me, is that I'm just doing random stuff. I'm making my breakfast, I'm in the shower, I'm doing exercise, I'm meditating, and all of a sudden there's these creative ideas popping up in my mind. And most of us have those. Most of us have creative ideas coming to us all the time. We just simply don't capture them. We're like, oh yeah, wow, that's a great idea. Yeah, I will remember it and then I will write it down in my brainstorming session. But by the time you do the brainstorming session, you've been so much in the past and so much in the future that you don't remember, right? And so one way to become more creative is to learn how to capture those ideas when they come up. And a second way is to be more present so that you can have more of the creative ideas. And then combine those two and you will realize that you're actually quite creative already, right? So we'll dive deeper into how to capture the creative ideas and make use of them basically, and not make them go lost as we do most of the time. So in this video, I'm not going to dive deeper into how to become more present, because I already have some videos on how to meditate, and you can practically use that. And I will also create some other videos about how to be more present. But so the first step is make sure you are more present in the moment. One of the ways you can do that is by feeling your body anchor, by focusing on the breath. There's a few other techniques, but like I said, that's for another video. In this video, we'll have a look at the second part, which is how to capture the ideas, how to capture your creative ideas. Now, like I said previously, if you're doing a brainstorming session, that might work, but I feel that a brainstorming session typically works if you're with other people. If there's like 4 or 5 people and you're doing a brainstorming session, then somehow your minds jump off each other's ideas, and that might really work. If I'm alone and I'm trying to do a brainstorming session, I come up with 2 ideas and then I blank out. And I'm like, not very useful. What do I need to do with this? And so that's why I believe brainstorming sessions might be helpful, but something that is even more helpful is to create a habit and to create a quick way of capturing ideas when they come up, right? Because if you're a perfectionist like me, what you typically think is, I am not going to think about all those crazy ideas. It needs to be a structured, good, full idea that I can implement immediately, right? Like, for example, I was thinking about how to create videos, how to write blog posts, how to start a business from content creation and from self-development, right? And I was kind of like, I need to know exactly who my niche is, who I'm going to make these videos to, how I'm going to make my videos, how I'm going to market it. And my perfectionist me kept me from actually being creative, because it was like, I need to know everything already before I can start. And that's, sadly enough, not how creativity works. Creativity is messy, it's unstructured, it's random. And that's the beauty of it, right? So when you're trying to be more creative, you're not trying to make creativity structured. Now, you first need to capture the random ideas, okay? And what has helped me a lot is I have a WordPress app, which is for my site, and I can write blog posts there. And it's really easy, because if I have an idea, I open up the app, I write a blog post, and I save it as a draft. And I don't write the full blog post, because again, creative ideas are not fully structured, like worked out ideas. They're small things, they're like topics, or they're words, or they're like, oh, read this book, or do this, or watch this video. Those are creative ideas, right? And so what I do is I use the app as a way of capturing them. And you can do this too. Think about the Notes app on your phone. Think about sticky notes. Put them right next to your desk Think about anything else. You can write it on paper. You can create an email draft, right? Email drafts are an easy way too. You open the app, you write an email draft, you send it to yourself. There we go. You need to come up with a way to capture creative ideas easily, without friction, in a few seconds. If the idea comes up, you immediately open your phone or you take your sticky note, you write it down, and then you keep it somewhere. And that's all you gotta do. You don't have to act on the idea yet. You just need to capture it. Capture it and put it somewhere. Okay? That's the first step. Capture ideas, put it somewhere, and then we'll go from there. If you're doing this capturing of thoughts for a while, after a few weeks, months, or years, you will start to see that all of the pieces of the puzzle are falling together. Or not all, but many of them are falling together and they make sense, and you start to see links between ideas. And you'll notice that your creative ideas all of a sudden make sense, right? So that's why it's important to let your creativity be random, be messy, be crazy, because you will start to see structure later on, and you can bring the structure to your creative ideas as well, right? If you're thinking about starting a business, right? Write down every single crazy idea you have about starting a business, because after a while you'll start to see different themes that then make sense. If you're wanting to write a book or create content like a blog, a podcast, YouTube videos, write down every single idea you have, and after a while you'll be like, oh, I can connect these two, or I can connect those two. And so the idea is that you capture your creative ideas and then you bring the structure to it after time has passed. Because creativity also needs time. It just pops up randomly, and then you're going to be, okay, thank you, I'm going to put you in here, and I will come back to you when I see a link with something else. Sometimes there will be ideas that you can immediately work on, and sometimes there will be ideas that you need to put away in the storage and that you will never look at again. But that is also fine, because they're part of your creativity, right? And so let go of those perfectionist thoughts that tell you that you need to know exactly what you're doing from the beginning. You won't. I certainly know I don't, and I know from a lot of other people that they don't know what they're doing very often. But that is fine. Do one thing and then capture those ideas. Creativity is messy, it's witty, it's crazy, it's random, so let it be that, and then just make sure that you have a system in place that captures them, stores them very easily, that you can make into a habit, and then you can come back to it. Because after a few weeks or months, you're going to be, oh, now this makes sense. Now these two ideas, I can connect them very easily, right? So that's the beauty of bringing structure to creativity, but letting creativity be as messy and random as it is, right? So a quick recap on what we've discussed in this video. How do you become more creative? First of all, by realizing that you already are creative, right? It's that easy. Creativity lives within you and you already have it. So the first thing you need to let go of is this idea that you are not creative. I'm telling you that you are, and that you can be, and that every person on this planet is creative. Every living thing on this planet is creative, okay? So that's the first step. Second step is practicing how to be present and being in the moment, in the present moment. You can practice that by meditation. You can also practice that by focusing on your body or your breath, or you can practice that by doing something you really love, which will also typically brings you more into the present moment. Then the key, what we've discussed in this video, is capture your creative ideas, right? You need to learn how to capture those. By capturing them, you need to see them. You need to see that was a creative idea, great. That's the first step of capturing. And then the second step of capturing is you need to have a habit or a system in place of storing those ideas somewhere. So if you have an idea, you recognize it, you see it, you say, okay, great, thank you so much. Then you're gonna put it in an email, put it on a sticky note, put it in a blog post, type it down on one of your notepads or whatever it can be, but have a system in place to capture them and then write them down and store them somewhere. That's the second step. And then the third step is going back to them. Just make sure you are constantly seeing them, right? That you're exposed to your ideas. Because by exposing yourself to your ideas, you're going to be, oh, that makes sense, I can combine these two, or maybe I can work on this, or now that I've read this book or I've listened to this podcast, it makes sense to now write down this business idea and just start. If you want to start a business, if you want to start writing a book, if you want to start working on a project at work, if you want to start doing your passion project, if you want to start going out, if you want to start creating a painting, like creativity can come in any form and any field. And I will never be a creative painter. I will never be a creative athlete, but I might be a creative content creator. I might be a creative partner, friend, son. I can maybe be a creative anything, basically, that I feel, right? I don't have to be creative at everything, but I have to realize that creativity comes in every single form and that I have creativity in myself too. And the same goes for you. You can be creative in your field, in your interests, in your life, in your relationships. And you need to realize that. And then you need to capture the creativity because it's really messy. And a lot of us are not messy and random, or we don't want to be. And allow it to be, because that's how creativity is. Capture it, store it, come back to it, and you'll notice that you are way more creative than you initially thought. And that creativity will, the more you allow creativity to be, and the more you allow creativity to be part of your life, the more creativity will also come. The more creative ideas you'll have, and the more you're going to be like, wow, I'm constantly writing blog posts or emails, and I can't even keep up with it. That's the idea of this, right? So start practicing today, because you need to learn this process, and then you'll realize after a few weeks or months that like, okay, now I got it. And then make sure you keep on practicing and practicing and practicing. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, let me know. I would be really happy to know what creative project you're working on. You can leave a comment down below as well, to let me know what you're working on, what creative ideas you would like to come out, and then we can go from there, basically. But I hope you're mainly enjoying the process, because it's a creative process. So enjoy it, be with it, and then good luck on your journey. And we will be talking soon. I'm Thomas from Thomas Dealer Coaching, and take care.